And the Minister in the Presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, says government wants the Commission of Inquiry into allegations of crime syndicates and collusion with some police members to be fast-tracked. And you heard there from that package there by Simphiwe Makanya, some of the members of the MK party not happy about this. And some of you, as the viewers, have also been expressing your own concerns about this. But also, some of the analysts have been saying that give this process some time because it does deal with these grave allegations, and it might just be the platform for all of them to then be dealt with once and for all. And Minister Ntshavheni joins us this evening. Minister, good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. So right off bat on that particular point, you do have some people that we've spoken to here on the show who say, yes, we understand the Commission is in fact the right platform to air all of these allegations, deal with them, but it needs to be fast-tracked. Then you have others who are saying, no, it's simply a waste of time.
Thank you.
Yes, Minister, I'm not sure if you're able to hear us. How do you respond to some of those who say that when you look at the country's commissions and it's just been an information exercise, the information would be laid bare for the public to see, but no accountability or very little?
But I don't think that summary is correct to say there's been nothing done from the commissions. And people are now talking about the Zonda Commission, for example. And if we can just give you the figures, because we report to Parliament the work that is being done to implement the recommendations of the Zonda Commission. As far as we know, 11 billion, and we reported this in the last cabinet statement, 11 billion of the assets have been recovered. Stolen assets from that were laid bare in the Zonda Commission have been recovered. 10.6 billion of some of those assets, in addition, have been frozen. And also SARS has recovered 4.8 billion rands in that. I'm just giving you the example. So it's not true that commissions of inquiry get set up and nothing gets implemented. And what is special about this commission is that the President has said we need also interim reports, or what we call intermediary reports, in 3 months and in 6 months. And they are not just reports, there's also recommendations to say in 3 months' time, we want to hear what will the judge and his commissioners will then table on as the recommendations for the President, and in 6 months' time, what will be the further recommendations that will be made. And it's important that it's done that way because we are a constitutional democracy. We have a constitution, we've got the administrative of justice that has to be done, and therefore you need to follow due process. The President cannot say, because allegations are made, because you can take a microphone, Bongi, and make allegations against me which are not based on anything, or I make allegations against you which are not based on anything. We must then follow a process to establish the facts. And what the President has also indicated is not about what General Mkhwanazi reported or alleged. It's also the issues that today, when we were launching releasing the National Intelligence Estimate of the 6th Administration and the National Security Strategy of 2024 to 2028, we indicated we have been seized with the issue of decontaminating the criminal justice system to make sure that it doesn't purport and support criminal ends, but it's made to make our people feel safe and be safe in the country. And that work that continues to be done, it's important that it comes to the fore to say, are there people who are undermining that type of work that has been set out? And if they are they in the police service only, or are they in the police service? Are they in the intelligence services? Are they in the defense force or in the justice system, across the justice system? Who are they, and what are those things that enable them, so that we can make precise interventions?
So I'm going to get to the second part of your statement in just a moment. Let me stay with what you say around the Zonda Commission and, of course, the assets that you say have been recovered and all of that. Some of the criticism, though, has been that there have not been some of the high-profile individuals who would have been, laid bare in that particular report, wearing orange overalls. The wheels of justice, according to some, are turning slowly.
And this is what we have been explaining. To say, to make an accusation is one thing, but to build up to find the evidence and build up a case against people, it's another. Because how many times have cases gone to court and they either be withdrawn or they've fallen flat because there's no such evidence. It's easy to go and make an allegation, but in terms of our laws and our processes, people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. So there must be the work that continues to be done by the investigating authorities, the IDEC, for example, the SIU are also investigating, and so that the National Prosecuting Authority can also then go and prosecute. But that evidence must be built up, and there must be a decision, a prosecutorial decision to say, will this make a solid case? Will we win this case in court? Because you can make allegations against Khumbudzo, but if you don't have the evidence to win in court, what is the point?
Yeah.
Because you simply waste more money. So allow the investigations to take place, and give space to the investigating authorities, the relevant law enforcement authorities, and allow the prosecution to take decision whether to prosecute or not to prosecute. When they do prosecute, let's give them space to go to court, and people have the right to defend themselves, and the judges, our courts, will determine whether there's a guilty finding or not a guilty finding.
So you speak about the issue of decontamination. I was listening to you speak about it a little earlier on, and the issue of skills as well. But there have been concerns over time about how some of the appointments that are made are in fact not made for the purpose that they're intended for. And for example, this is not a new concern. The high-level review panel report in 2018 on state security said the key finding was that there was a serious politicization and how factional battles are also playing out within the intelligence community, and saying that these are factions within the ruling party at the time, and it resulted in a complete disregard for the Constitution and also turning the intelligence to a private resource to serve political and personal interests. And then again, we're here listening to what the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal has said. You do speak to, for example, I was in conversation with Yaki Cilia earlier on, and he says that these allegations are not new, the politicization is not new, there doesn't seem to be a will to deal with it. How do you respond to that?
I think, let's not conflate issues. There have been a process, a high-level review panel on the intelligence community, and the report came out with recommendations. And we have come out very clear that we are implementing those recommendations. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, sometimes when we implement these recommendations, people forget that there have been those recommendations, there have been those complaints. Today, we released the National Security Strategy, the National Intelligence Estimate, and National Intelligence Priorities. And we were very clear that this is the guiding documents, this is the guiding principles that guide our work, because so that there's clarity. And it is for the first time when we, in 2024 March, when Cabinet approved the National Security Strategy, that we had a national security strategy that guides the work of the intelligence community in the country. And that is milestone. And secondly, now we've released it to make it public. Of course, we've released the public version of the strategy. Mm-hmm. And we're saying, hold us accountable in terms of implementing that. And that's what's going to guide us to implement or to do the work as an intelligence community. And supported by the National Intelligence Estimate and the National Intelligence Priorities. And that is the one part. Yeah. The second part that we have now introduced, and that's why we spoke during the debate about the skills that we are reintroducing and the process that we are reintroducing. When we spoke about that, we spoke about career pathing, career planning, and succession planning. But we also spoke about establishing a skills base that is relevant for the intelligence community, because you want people to be appointed on the basis of their skills, not on the basis of their connections. And also, we advertise the positions, which was something that was not done before in general. It was closed up. We advertise the positions. Yes, we do not advertise them the same way other departments advertise them, but the positions get advertised and people follow a due process to be appointed into particular roles, except those roles that the law prescribes how they must be appointed. So, and this is part of that role implementation. And that's why today, in our budget speech, we spoke about we are concretely and firmly on path for the renewal, revitalization of the intelligence and modernization of the intelligence communities in South Africa.
So you're dealing with the issue of politics, because this is the big one. And someone watching us tonight will say, it's all good and well to have all these processes, but you're dealing with this process of intelligence and you're talking about renewal, but politics, is that something that's being dealt with? And how much of a worry has it been for you as the minister?
So we are dealing with the professionalization of the intelligence services. And we have to undergo a number of processes to get to the point where we are now, where we can confidently announce that particular structures have been, organizational structures have been completed, and then they'll fill the vacancies over time. And there's a clear process. We're dealing with the politicization as we move towards the professionalization. I'm sure you'll recall that towards the end of last year, I came under a serious barrage, accused of all sorts of things, in particular to say I'm paging people. I was not paging people. I was saying we need to create room for new skills to come through, but also for room for the ones who are internal to grow, but also room to allow professionalization to take place. And that's why we've remained firm in terms of implementation of that process, and we've continued to engage with members of the service across and to have their buy-in. We've put a change management process to support the initiative of professionalization the intelligence service in the country. And for us, that is important to do it, because it's the only hope and confidence that South African intelligence will be fit for purpose, and it will work to promote the national interest and not the interests of individuals.
There are concerns, I'm sure you've seen, of the possibility of an unrest. For example, the MK party saying that the president must retract his decision to appoint an interim police minister by no later than 10 a.m. tomorrow. And if he doesn't, they will take the fight to the courts and the streets if need be. Then you listen to some of the representatives earlier on handing over that memorandum, saying that if they take it to the streets, they are not going to be involved in and be in control, which may leave many on edge as to how things may turn out here, given the fact that we've seen an unrest in this country that has left over 350 people dead. One wonders then, how do you respond to this, and what do you plan to do?
It's not the first time that threats of shutdowns and so forth have been made since we've taken over in the space, and those have never materialized because we've been very active in dealing with those, and we're not threatened, we're not faced by those. Taking to the courts, it's in line with our principles of constitutional democracy. That's their prerogative. They can go to the courts. If they come out to the streets, they must make sure that they are law-abiding, like those who are marching to protect a whole general. I do not know why they think a general needs protection, and the general has the capacity to protect himself, given, if you look at the profile of General Nkwanzi, you'll understand his profile. So, but where we are, there's a rule of law, right to protest, you can protest, but you want to do any other thing beyond protest, you need the full might of the law. There's still the police service who are active. There are still men and women who are active to protect this country. We've got the intelligence community who will pick up the issues and will make sure that we do the forewarning, and the net joints will be ready to respond.
Just before I let you go quickly, we've asked our viewers to respond to the suspension of the crime detection Deputy National Police Commissioner responsible for crime detection. And this is what some of them are saying. Stirman is saying, good evening. He was so quick to respond to the general's allegations, trying hard to convince us that the general is not telling the truth, but said nothing with substance. I'm not happy about the leave of absence. At least he was supposed to be suspended. And I suppose that Stirman is in fact referring there to Shadrack Sibiya. Shorty saying the rot is deeper. Now we must intensify a call for President Cyril Ramaphosa to resign with immediate effect. We're sick and tired of corruption. ZB Realitama Batubare Shuhai, we are led by alleged corrupt officials who protect criminals. I trusted Mr. Ramaphosa, but I'm enough of him. He should have fired all of those implicated in Mkwanazi's statement. How do you respond to that, Minister?
I've already responded to this issue. We are a constitutional democracy. There is a rule of law. Everybody is entitled to be heard. When allegations are made, there is a requirement that you must investigate and bring the evidence. And that's why the president was very clear in articulating who must go to the commission, and even inviting South Africans to go to the commission themselves to report those things. And it's only when you follow that due process that you can then make the decisions that need to be made. The president cannot be emotional about running the country. The president must be systematic, must follow the rule of law. Otherwise, we are no different for those who are doing wrong things. He will not be any different. The president has to make sure that that commission of inquiry, because it's provided for in law, investigate what it has to investigate, give him the reports. And these reports this time around are not only ending with the president. He said they will be also given to the Chief Justice because there was allegations against the judiciary, and they're also going to be given to Parliament so that we can collectively act. That's the three arms of the state, by the way, so that we can collectively act to deal with the road that threatens our national security. And I'm saying to South Africans, from our side, from the intelligence community, we've got all hands on deck. We've got the capacity to detect any threats to this country. And the part of the things that have been raised by the allegations and counter-allegations that have been made have been indicated in the national intelligence priorities as contained in the national intelligence estimate that we need to decontaminate the criminal justice system of criminality, and so that we can have a free and safe South Africa and an effective criminal justice system that work to combat crime.
Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, thank you so much for your time this evening. And of course, we'll continue then to bring you more on the story.